This is the CitizenLink report.
If you find our insights helpful, would you support our video efforts? $500 buys an hour of studio time. And we usually don't use a whole hour, but it covers the crew, lights, cameras, all that. That means your gift of $25 or more goes a long ways. Just click on donate. Thanks from all of us. President Obama has a dream from his father.
America has a dream from our founding fathers, that together we must perfect liberty, and America must grow, so liberty grows.
This is the CitizenLink report. I'm Stuart Shepard, along with Dinesh D'Souza, who's an author, college president, and also the guy behind the hit movie, the surprising hit movie, 2016. Hi, Dinesh.
Hello, good to be on the show.
Thanks for making time for us today. Your documentary is having an impressive run. Last weekend, it was on more than 1,000 screens out there in theaters across the country. What do you think is behind that success?
Well, I think first of all, it's a very well-made film. Our producer is Jerry Molen, a longtime partner of Steven Spielberg, and a guy who's made films like Hook and Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. So this is not the typical documentary that looks a bit like a TV documentary. Rather, this is more like a movie, and it's shot in Hawaii, in Indonesia, in Kenya, and it has a lot of new information about Obama that has either not been reported or in some cases even actively suppressed by the mainstream media. So people who watch the film feel like they're getting new facts that are helping them to make an informed decision in a very important year.
That's a very good description, because as I watched the movie, it is beautifully shot. It feels cinematic in the scope of it, but it also is giving us information that we've not heard elsewhere. In fact, I would even go so far as to say the major media is not doing its job in checking out who this person is who's president. You actually went to the places where the president grew up. You talked about visiting Hawaii and Indonesia. In the movie, you also talk about his father, and you go to Kenya. His father, of course, was active in the anti-colonialism movement. Help us understand what anti-colonialism is and how it may be playing into the president's decision-making.
Yes, Obama actually has a very riveting story. He was abandoned by his father at birth. He was abandoned by his mom at the age of 10. They were living in Indonesia, and she packed him up and sent him alone from Jakarta all the way back to America, and she lived the rest of her life in Indonesia. All his life, Obama felt was a fractured soul, and he went searching for this absentee dad he never knew. And finally, he has a pivotal scene at his father's grave in which he says, all right, I recognize that my dad was in many ways a flawed man. I'm not going to try to be like my dad, but I'll take his dream. That, by the way, is the real meaning of Obama's book, Dreams from My Father. And in the film, we show the significance of what it means for Obama to take his father's dream. His father was a third world guy. He called himself a socialist. He was very anti-American in the area of foreign policy. And so there's a very interesting resemblance between the ideology of the father and the behavior in the White House of the son.
So people were expecting someone whose dreams came out of Selma and Birmingham and all the ideas and philosophies that came out of those cities, but instead it appears his ideas came out of places like Jakarta and Kenya.
I think to some degree that is clearly true, and yet in America, Obama located over the course of his life a number of people. I call them Obama's founding fathers. And this is a very radical group of people. The communist Frank Marshall Davis in Hawaii, a Palestinian radical named Edward Said at Columbia. One magazine has called him a professor of terror for supporting Palestinian bombings against Israel. A Brazilian socialist that Obama met at Harvard Law School and remained friends with all the way through the 2008 campaign. A domestic terrorist, Bill Ayers, who has gone with bin Laden, and both of them tried to blow out the Pentagon. And then, of course, we know all about Jeremiah Wright, the incendiary preacher. So the point is that these aren't guys that Obama accidentally bumped into. Rather, they are people that he sought out, he befriended over, in many cases, years, and in some cases, decades. And these are the people who have formed Obama's mind.
And the worldview that we take on, if your theory is correct, leads to the decision making that we have. The way that we view the world changes how we decide things. What do you see in the decision making of the president that shows that your theory is correct?
Well, there are a lot of people who think Obama is a bungler. He's incompetent. He's an amateur. And he's getting results opposite to what he intends. My view is that this is not right. Obama isn't getting results opposite to what he intends. He intends the results he's getting. So what have we been seeing in America in the last 4 years? We have been seeing a stagnation, even a contraction of our economy. We have seen an escalation of debt of $5 trillion added by Obama in a single term. We have seen a slashing of the American nuclear arsenal. We have seen a undermining of the military, a weakening of our allies who are falling one by one, a shrinking of America's influence in the Middle East. So what I'm saying is Obama wants this. He's doing it, and that's why it's happening. Now, it's not that Obama just in a crude way hates America, but he subscribes to an ideology that sees a smaller, poorer, less consuming America, an America with a smaller footprint in the world as a good thing.
If what you're saying is true, it should also be predictive, and that's, I guess, is where you got the title for the movie 2016. If there is a second term for Mr. Obama, what do you see coming down the road?
I think if we have a second term from Obama on the domestic front, what we would see is a further reduction in America's wealth and America's standard of living. The Federal Reserve Board predicts that since 2007, Americans have seen a 40% erosion of their wealth. By the way, if this were to happen again, one more time in the second term, America would basically cease to be a first world country. I also think that in the domain of foreign policy, Obama is attempting to knock America off its pedestal. So America is no longer number one in the world. America just becomes another country, like Greece or Finland or Somalia, just one more country at the big dining table of nations. So, interestingly, the idea of ending American superiority, shrinking America's wealth, these are common ideas on the streets of Rio de Janeiro or Jakarta, but never before have they actually been held and advocated by a president of the United States.
When people are walking out of the theater after watching your film, what thought do you hope they take with them?
Well, I hope they have the thought that this is not an ordinary situation. The American dream itself is at stake. I'm an immigrant. I grew up in India, and the American era, which began in 1945, now seems to be winding down. Now, maybe, all great powers go up and they come down, and that happens eventually. But it would be particularly incredible if the chief architect of America's decline is the man living at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the man elected to protect, defend, and advance the interests of the United States.
Dinesh D'Souza, thank you for making time for us to share about your movie today. We appreciate the work you're doing.
It's a pleasure.
All right, and thank those of you who watch each week. We do love hearing from you. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. If you see his movie, let us know what you think about it. Give us your thoughts on his ideas about the decision-making going on in the White House. And remember, stand tall and be heard.